present to you the best Quad City sports talk radio show in the world. With the face who runs the place, T-Roy, the OG on the marquee, Jaybird, and the cat who runs the chat with the stats, Statman Surge. We are Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. We're not a Quad City sports talk radio show. We're not the Quad City sports talk radio show. We are your Quad City sports talk radio show. Welcome to the conversation, Quad Cities. But first, the dawn.
How's everybody doing this beautiful Thursday morning? I love doing things to mess Jay up right off the bat. Anyway, everybody, thank you for listening to Don't Hassle Us Local. Thanks for tuning in. We got an interesting day today. I know we have AC Earl coming in studio. So we'll have some NBA talk. Game 5 tonight, Jay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hey,
Lakers can clinch, right? Is that right?
Yeah,
They're up 3-1.
We're going to talk with AC Earl. He'll be in around 12:30 or so. We're working on putting together a podcast for him.
Right. Yeah.
So out there, and want to thank everybody for listening on ESPN 1170 AM. Reminder that you can listen on the ESPN 1170 AM app. You can listen online, ESPN1170am.com, and you can listen, leave comments, watch us on our Facebook Live YouTube channel on Don't Hassle Us, We're Local. And so for the listeners out there, we're struggling with the name for AC's podcast. So maybe we need some suggestions when he comes in here. We'll talk to him about it.
Oh, really? You didn't tell me this.
Yeah, I just, sometimes that's the way my brain works. I just talk about right away, and that's kind of the show, where we're just kind of we have a loose format, but we have a format.
Do we? You didn't write it down.
I didn't.
How am I supposed to know what's going on?
I didn't. Well, I don't know. We started about 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, we kind of know what's going on, right? I mean, we have the games yesterday. The Braves beat the Marlins 2-0. Ian Anderson threw a gem for the Braves. He's 2-0 in the postseason right now. Ian Anderson went 5 2/3 of an inning, 8 Ks in that game for him. The Athletics beat the Astros. Houston leads that series 2-1. The Dodgers and the Padres, they were jawing at each other, but the Dodgers did win that game 6-5. They're up 2-0. And the Tampa Bay Rays beat the Yankees 8-4. And Tampa Bay leads that 2-1. So it was a lot of games going on, and we have more today as well. So we starting at 1:08 our time, Atlanta and Miami. Then at 2:35, we're going to have Oakland and Houston. 6:10, Tampa Bay and New York Yankees. And at 8 o'clock, Dodgers and the Padres. Speaking of baseball, kind of funny that we mentioned it the other day, but this day in history, T-Roy.
Okay, give me hints here.
64 years ago today.
64. So
1956.
Yeah, 56.
Mm-hmm.
World Series.
Yes.
And was this the infamous no-hitter that we were
this
talking about?
This was the perfect game.
Okay.
Yes, this is the infamous perfect game.
Bob Feller?
No, Don Drysdale.
Don Drysdale.
Yeah, final out was called by Vin Scully, and Mickey Mantle made a perfect game-saving catch in that. Roy Halladay is the only other pitcher to throw a postseason no-hitter, and that was 10 years ago, just 2 days ago. He did that 10 years ago this past Tuesday.
God rest
So
his
in
soul.
Game 5 of the World Series, Yankees right-hand pitcher Don Larson threw, did I say Drysdale? Don Larson.
Yeah.
Don Larson threw the only perfect game in Major League Baseball postseason history. Larson did not have that great of a season, not bad, 11-5, 3.26 ERA, and in Game 2 was even worse. He only made an inning and 2/3 with 4 walks and 4 runs scored. Listen to some of the names that played in this, the Brooklyn Dodgers and New York Yankees World Series.
Did the Yankees win this series?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, they went on to win it in 7 games.
Oh,
and Larson went on and won the World Series MVP.
Can I guess some of the names?
Sure.
Let's see. Yogi Berra.
You got it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
DiMaggio.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Joe DiMaggio wasn't on that?
No. I already said one, though. Another one on there, though.
Well, I wasn't listening.
Oh, good. Perfect. That's fun.
Mickey Mantle.
Yes, that's the one I had mentioned.
Roger Maris.
No, not on this one.
Okay. See, Mickey, Yogi. I'll come back on the Yankees.
Yeah.
On the Dodgers, let's
Yes.
see.
Dodgers are stacked.
Jackie Robinson.
Yes.
Pee Wee Reese.
Yes.
Was Drysdale on that?
He was on that team.
Okay.
Very good.
Let's say, let's see, Pee Wee Reese, Jackie Robinson.
Mhm.
You had behind the plate Campanella.
Yes, you did. Look at you go.
Gosh darn it all. Duke Snyder.
Yes. Man.
Gee, let me think.
It's impressive.
Hold on. Pee Wee Reese, Duke Snyder. Pee Wee was at short, right?
Yeah.
I think so. And then Jackie was at second. Man, I know
It's still pretty good.
Was Sandy Koufax on this team?
He was on the roster. Did not play a single. Did not pitch a single ball in this
I should
World
be able
Series,
to get
though.
more Yankees though.
He was on the roster. Yankees. You got Yogi Berra. You got Mickey Mantle, Eno Slaughter, and Whitey Ford.
Oh, Whitey Ford swinging the blue.
The only two Dodgers.
I should have
that-
gotten Ford. I wouldn't have got Enos Slaughter.
I mean, obviously there's other Dodgers, but the notable superstars, Don Newcomb and Gil Hodges. The only really thing I know about Gil Hodges is Field of Dreams. Hey, that's Gil Hodges. Such and such. Yeah, Ty Cobb wanted to come too when I was Kansas. Son of a bitch when he was alive, so we told him to stick it. But yeah, that's what happened in baseball and history and time of year.
Dodgers team was stacked.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
So last night on HBO, they have these documentaries or whatever else, all right? And sometimes they are sports related, which is fun. They got this one that I was trying to tell you about. It's called Wild Card. It's a documentary of Craig Carton.
Yeah, the guy you were saying this guy had the dream job.
Yeah,
But he lost it all to gambling.
Yeah, he did the radio show for the WFAN 660 morning show in New York with Boomer Esiason. They were the number one program basically in the country as well. Not only in New York, but as others. But I mean, he had a crazy gambling addiction. His career got brought to a halt on September 6, 2017, when he was arrested by FBI agents and charged with conspiracy, wire fraud, and securities fraud.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is he in jail now, I take it?
No, he's out. He spent just over a year. But he basically was kind of considered the blackjack whisperer. And what happened was he had played a lot of cards, all right? He liked gambling. He started off gambling, but then his career was moving forward, he started playing more cards, and he really looked at it like a second job, and he was good at it. And they always did I'm going to say this wrong. I mean, I just watched the documentary. I wasn't taking notes.
Right.
They would go to New Jersey once a year. They'd take their show on the road. And if it's the Bovada, I don't know. All right. But it's there. And he's like bragging to Boomer on the air about how he can, make all this money or whatever else. And he's good at it. And he had said to Boomer, "You give me $10,000, I'll turn it into $20,000." And he just kept going at it. And it was like more like a bit. You know what I'm saying? But then he bit off more than he could chew, because finally they had a weird relationship. They liked each other, but they didn't really get along. Like, this guy was a loudmouth, but he was like, you know how you sit there and say like, oh, WWE, the promos, they tell you like, be your personality, but be 110%.
Right.
Like, this guy was like, radio was just made for him. He went to college and everything, and he was like in front of the cameras like a Randazzo would be. But once he got on radio, he knew he could just say whatever he wanted to. And it's kind of like people are now, like on Facebook. They'll say things, but they don't back it up. He'll say things, be like, I just said it on the radio. And Boomer, he's an NFL quarterback, and he's straight-laced, and it's just like sometimes he just called this guy a clown, and sometimes he ran with the punches and bits. Well, this bit went too far, and finally Boomer's like, okay, you're going to do it. So he handed him $10,000 on air. And they actually, their show, I give them credit, they grew to a point where they actually had cameras on him. So they're in New Jersey, and he turns that around and hands him $20,000. Sure as can be. Made $5,000 off it. He turned that 10 into $25,000 overnight. So at that point from there, everybody that was calling in, like, so he kind of got involved with these people that would, large groups of people, investors. You know what I'm saying? We've got a group. We're going to put money in. We're going to pay for you to go play cards for us. And he said it would be like no big deal that he would meet someone on a street corner in New York dropping off $1 million in a duffel bag. He would take like helicopters from New York into New Jersey, and he would cash out by 2:30 in the morning because he knew he had to get going to make it to the radio show that would start at 6. It was crazy. So he said he borrowed over $30 million to gamble with.
Gee, man.
He lost $2 million in one night.
Good God.
He had taken that $1 million. All right, so the $1 million I told you about, he had taken it and within like hours had turned it into 1.5. But he doesn't stop there. He's like, I took that investor's money and I made them half their money back, right? Because that's what it was. The deal was that they had to they got 50% or whatever earnings. I don't know. But he had also won $500,000 for himself. So that's $2 million. He was up $2 million. Well, the one that he had, so up $1 million. And he goes, I walked away with zero. I ended up losing it all that night.
Wow.
It's nuts. But like I said, sometimes you find a documentary that's cool. Like I was just browsing through things. I had known about it. I'm like, I'll throw it on. It was like an hour, just maybe about an hour and 20 minutes. Not bad. But I didn't want to get into that dark like Netflix one, like the Murder Family or whatever it is, American Murder or something. And I don't really want to sit down right now and do the social dynamic or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I just...
Yeah, we've been watching that one. It just, man. Silicon Valley. The geeks got us, Jay.
I just don't want to get angry.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, that was cool to watch. I'm really excited about watching Ted Lasso again. So, but we've got sports. We've got Thursday night football, T-Roy.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks versus the Bears.
Bucks still favored by what? Are they up to 7 yet?
No, the opposite,
Bud.
That's right. The Thursday night showdown includes a pair of 3-1 teams. Mm-hmm. The public looks at this and says, whoa, because it's opened up at -6.5. The public, 2/3 of the public are running to the kiosk at Rhythm City Casino. Not just there, but we'll just say that. And putting the money on the Bucks. But we have seen this line. They say 6.5. They open up at 6-point road favorite. We have seen this line move to -3.5. Why is that, T-Ray?
Sharps are on the Bears?
The sharps are on the Bears. That's right. Pro bettors have gotten down hard on the Bears, causing drastic reverse line movement in their favor. Chicago has a buy low home contrarian dog, and it's a Thursday night, primetime game. It's going to be heavily bet.
The only reason the sharps are on that is because the injuries to the Bucks right now.
Tampa has to travel on a short week. Bears got to be at home on Sunday. And you're right, Tampa Bay is out. Chris Godwin's out. Leonard Fournette is doubtful. Mike Evans and Scotty Miller are questionable. O.J. Howard is out as well. The total opened up at 45. It's dipped slightly to 44.5. Supposed to be high 50s, wind 7 to 10 miles per hour.
Our boy Rothy predicted this game already on Twitter.
What'd he say?
Bucks 27-13.
Okay. So tonight, sometimes you want to get out. You want to but it's going to be nice outside around here. Thursday night football, mobile party experience will be at Pints. So our friend Tim O'Neill, who's been on the show, he's going to pull up the mobile party experience, a big, large screen TV.
And they're going to be handing out complimentary Vans, pizza, and wings. Is that right?
I believe so, yes. Well, yeah, I know it is. I don't know
handing it out, so follow.
We're going to be following all guidelines for that.
Out there for all you Karens.
But free wings and pizza and bear football against the Buccaneers. I said a lot of powerful,
a lot of B words.
B's and powerful, consonants. So they're at Pints on the Partio.
Better than playing the Pitt Panthers.
Yeah. So at Pints, 5268 Utica Ridge Road tonight. That game's going to be going on. That's going to be a lot of fun. Tim's idea and his business is a great thing. And what's going on now is you guys will be able to see while you're there at Pints is that this type of mobile party experience can come to your driveway if you want to host a tailgate because you're not going to Kinnick Stadium this year.
No, you're not. Don't even try it.
Don't even. And you're
Don't
gonna
go
tailgate, you're
there.
gonna get in
Don't
trouble.
go there and tailgate. Don't get in trouble. Don't let all the news media take pictures of you ding-dongs drinking in someone's driveway at Iowa City.
Mm-mm.
Do it in your own driveway.
No way.
They won't be taking pictures of you in your own driveway.
Any in news in the NFL? Titans have another player test positive. They still don't know what they're doing about this game this week. So
By the way,
the
when
Bills
we
game is
say-
in jeopardy.
When we
What?
say the word liberal media, isn't that redundant? Just say media.
I guess I don't think I've ever said the word liberal media though.
Okay.
You ever think of the word?
You ever think about it? You ever think about liberal media? Why do we even say that? Shouldn't we just say media? We all know they're liberal anyway, right?
The league is looking into a breach of protocol that the Titans did. Titans players reportedly conducted a workout at a local school this past week. Stephon Gilmore played Monday night.
He breathed on Patrick Mahomes.
He did. You see that? People are
How
like,
dare he?
He hugged Patrick Mahomes.
They went over and exchanged words.
Yeah, Raiders defensive tackle Maurice Hurst also tested positive. Why is that seriously a thing? Like, they hugged or whatever.
Why are you guys talking? Well, I didn't see anybody carrying when Deshaun Watson sat next to him on the bench. Game 1. Remember when he got chased out of bounds and he jumped on the bench?
Yeah,
next to him?
yeah.
Oh, you people are... Well, I know Gilmore tested positive. That's why they're making a big deal about
Yeah.
it. But still.
Meanwhile, Monday night's Saints-Chargers game might have to shift from New Orleans to Indianapolis.
Why?
Hurricane Delta is preparing to hit Louisiana.
Yeah, is this one going to be a bad one?
You know what? There's more hurricane. As if you watched the vice presidential debates last night,
I did
they
not.
talked a lot about global warming and the
Yeah.
amount of hurricanes and the wildfires and what are you guys doing about it? And I was like, oh my goodness, I forgot about global warming. This is back. We spent 2020, the liberal media, as you will.
Didn't somebody debunk this thing about the number of hurricanes?
No, I don't know.
I thought it was about the same amount. Whatever.
And let's just take a little note that I'm reading here from our friends at Axios about the NFC East.
Don't say it. Don't even start.
The Eagles, the Cowboys, the Washington football team, and the Giants are a combined 3-12-1.
So?
Since the 1970 AFL-NFL merger, only the 1984 AFC Central, they went 3-13, got off to a worse start. The Eagles are in first place despite running 3 plays all season while leading in the fourth quarter. Since divisional realignment in 2002, no division has won fewer than 22 games in a season. The NFC East teams will need to win at least 8 more non-division games to avoid breaking that
Well,
record.
that's good, because Dallas is going to win 8 more.
Mm-hmm.
Non-division game?
So I'm putting them in to my survivor pool. So I don't want to come in on Monday being like, man, what happened there? So, and then in other news, they got the golf going on right now. Bryson DeChambeau is leading that. And he is talking about unveiling a new 40-inch driver, the longest allowed in the rules of golf at next month's Masters. Is that a big deal?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, it's going to give him more torque.
Why doesn't everybody get more torque?
I don't know. You get measured for your height. I don't know. He changes his swing. He does something different. I don't know. I've never really looked into what he does exactly, but I know he uses the same length shaft for every shot. So he has a different concept.
He does he?
Mm-hmm.
So yesterday we told you that Dwayne Haskins is going to be benched. Kyle Allen's going to replace him. Man, didn't we go through this last year? There was Josh Allen, Kyle Allen. Who was the other Allens? It was just Allens all over.
Yeah.
Man, I loved it. So we're back to that. So this will be the 22nd quarterback to start a game for the Washington football team since the turn of the century. The 22nd quarterback to start a game for Washington since the turn of the century.
Oh, boy.
Only 2 franchises have started more QBs in that span. Only 2.
Only 2. Hold on.
In the century, that's right.
Only 2
Have started
since,
more QBs in that span.
since 2000.
I named one right away before I looked. The other one I had to get a little hint. Can you name the two franchises that have started more quarterbacks since the turn of the century than the 22 number that the Washington football team has put up?
The Jets?
No.
Okay. The Bills?
No. You got one more strike, and then you're done.
The Bears?
Yes is one of them. The Bears are one of them. The other one is an AFC team.
The other one is an AFC team.
Yes.
22 AFC team. Oh, Raiders.
No.
No?
It's the Bengals. I mean, the Browns. The Browns.
Oh, the Browns.
Sorry, yeah.
That was
Yeah, I know.
easy.
That was an easy
fruit.
one. I
That
feel
was
like they
terrible.
draft a quarterback and start him every year. So
I know. That was dumb.
yeah.
Can you name, do they have a list of the starting quarterbacks from Washington? Let's see how many I can name.
I can look it up at break, and when we come back, you can do it.
All right.
I'll see what I'm sure.
See
It's,
if I can name. See what I can name.
I'll have to Google it and figure it out. What it do? List of starting quarterbacks since the turn of the century. But I mean, Bears ones I can do okay. Browns I can come up with some a little crazy. No, that was the Bengals. Tim Couch was one of them. He ended up playing for the Bears too, didn't he?
Who, Couch?
Yeah, he was drafted by them.
Probably.
That was the year that they went like him and Achilles Smith went 1 and 2. I think there was a third that went that year. All right. Well, let's take a quick break here at ESPN 1170 AM. We are going to be joined soon whenever he gets into town by AC Earl. But till then, we're going to try to see how the musical chairs are going with the Washington football team.
Locally owned and operated in the Quad Cities since 1934, Tri-City Equipment has been your source for restaurant equipment and value. They have very competitive prices and full service. You can get everything you need: kitchenware, cookware, refrigeration, tableware, glassware, flatware, you name it. Everything has a 30-day guarantee and 90-day on parts. If you're looking to cater an event or just some specific items for your home chef, check them out online at tricityequipment.com or stop down to 527 West 4th Street and check out their newly remodeled 2,400-foot square foot showroom with over 1,600 items in stock. Remember, they deliver to all Quad City residents and they match online pricing. Give them a call today, 563-322-5382, 563-322-5382. That's Tri-City Equipment, 527 West 4th Street in Davenport.
You like that? You like that?
Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah! Woo! This is Tyson Blazer, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local on ESPN 1170 AM.
From lines of credit in Chicagoland to equipment finance loans in the Quad Cities to better cash flow in Milwaukee, First Midwest Bank is committed to using our local knowledge and ideas to help our clients get their business momentum back. Visit wehaveideas.firstmidwest.com. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
The holidays are right around the corner. Don't stress out finding that perfect gift for that hard-to-buy someone on your list. Shop Premier Metal Art. They do custom engraving on items like tumblers, promotional items, and other custom gifts. They even do holiday decor and family namesakes. These multi-layered, full-color, powder-coated metal art items are a must-have this holiday season. Customize your man cave or purchase a gift for a sports fan, a first responder, or even a veteran. Order now online at qcpremier.com or on Facebook. Finish your holiday shopping today.
Meet Carla.
Hi there.
Carla's 4 daughters keep her pretty busy.
Oops.
Casey's new curbside pickup makes life easier for Carla
Pizza!
and saves her an extra trip to the grocery store. Now, you can add grocery items like bread, drinks, and snacks to your online pizza order, and we'll bring them right to your car with curbside pickup. And for a limited time, get 2 large single-topping pizzas for just $8.99 each. Casey's, here for convenience, here for new curbside pickup, here for good. Available at select locations only.
Janae and Golick Jr.
The NCAA is still in its old bag of tricks, and we've heard the president, Mark Emmert, say that a bubble is possible for some of the tournaments coming up, looking down the line to March Madness, and it's what makes more farcical the idea that the NCAA or any of the powers in the world of college athletics can look and tell us they're doing as much as they can for what we're about to see in college football. I was on the call for the first college football game this season as Central Arkansas and Austin Peay played, and while everyone involved did what they could, we know ultimately the powers in college sports are preventing the bubbling of athletes because they know what admitting that comes with. And so when they try and sell me that they're doing everything they can, I unfortunately can't believe it because they're already telling us and telling on themselves as they look forward towards the spring that the bubble might not only happen, but it is going to come with plenty of apparel you can buy, all in support of amateurism.
Shanae and Golick Jr., 306 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Which stage of life are you in?
I'm shopping for a new house and can't believe I'm a grown-up stage.
How on earth do people afford college stage?
Or
I never have to think about work again stage.
No matter which stage of life you're in, First Midwest Bank has the knowledge and experience to help you. Visit firstmidwest.com/everystage. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, momentum for life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The Max Kellerman Show.
Damien in LA.
I wanted to share my fondest Kobe memory, mine and my son's. It was season opener, Kobe's last year. You, Raj, and he who shall not be named. We got the privilege to meet you guys, me and my son, and I shared with my son the story of you and your daughter Esther, of how I always remember the day that you got to see Kobe Bryant play. Last week, me and my son are driving around. Now, he was about 8 years old at that time, roughly 4 years ago. And the joy I felt when we heard you on the radio again, and my son was like, "Oh, is that Max Kellerman?" "Yes, man." I remember the day I saw Kobe Bryant play was the day I met Max Kellerman.
The Max Kellerman Show. Weekdays at 2 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170. Your sports leader is new and different every day. Download the ESPN 1170 app today.
All right, everybody, we are back here in the Hassle Castle, brought to you by Dunright Satellite and Dish. And this is Don't Hassle Us Local, AM 1170.
That was literally one of our most productive commercial breaks we've ever had.
Was it?
Looking up quarterbacks who played for teams and find their names instead of just farting around like we normally do.
I was writing. As I was guessing them. I only looked up one guy because I couldn't think of his name. I couldn't think of his last name. I could only think of the nickname I gave him.
Thank you for listening to ESPN 1170 AM.
So I didn't cheat.
This is Don't Hassle Us, We're Local, the Quad City's only local sports talk radio show. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to download the ESPN 1170 AM app. If you do that, you can enter the cash codes and you can have the chance to win $1,000. We give away twice a day. And then it automatically enters you into the $10,000 grand prize giveaway, brought to you by our friends from Necker's Jeweler. So get out a pen and paper, write down the code words.
Are these new ones?
Yes. Oh,
I'm going to do word affiliation.
Okay, for October 8th, for Thursday, October 8th. All right, so you go to the app, ESPN 1170 AM, scroll down a little bit, it says win cash. Scroll down, and then it'll say enter code words now. So here's your 10 code words. Write them down.
All right.
You're going to do word association too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cloud.
9.
All right. Number 2, chip.
Foster.
Very good. CHIP, chip. All right. Number 3, ice.
Man. Or cube.
Well, that's the first one, so we're going with man. Yeah. Number 4, gum.
Shoe.
Number 5, orange.
Peel.
Orange. Number 6, flower.
Hour.
What was that?
Hour.
Hour?
Hour.
Why wouldn't you say power?
I don't know.
Flower hour? Have you ever heard of that before in your life?
What kind of flower?
Oh, good idea, because I should spell that out.
Yeah.
FLOWER.
Oh, see, that's different. I was thinking the powdery substance.
But would it be like, is that your cooking time when you're like, hey,
no,
Mookie, it's time for flower hour?
But they're spelled the same. So in my head,
flower
I was thinking
power.
But if I was thinking flour you cook with, hour and flour, see?
No, I don't see.
OWR.
I got that
All
part.
right,
I just don't
why-
understand like the word association.
Because I'm doing it by
I understand
letters.
Cloud9, Chip Foster, Ice,
All right.
Man.
Well, my new flower now is Power. Fine, just so you're
All
happy.
right, yeah. Number 7, Slow. SLOW. Slow.
J.
I walked into that one.
You deserve that one.
Number 8, Fast.
Troy.
Good. 9, Soup.
Kitchen.
See, now you're getting there. And then number 10, Cream.
I'll do what?
C-R-E-A-M.
See, AC's here and I'm thinking basketball. I thought you said cream.
I said cream. C-R-E-A-M.
I was thinking basketball, man.
Those are your 10
pie.
words.
Cream pie.
Enter those words into the Win Cash on ESPN 1170 AM app. Join us in studio is the great AC Earl. How you doing, my man?
Good, good. Do I need to get my thing on?
Yeah, if you want to. It's really not a big deal.
Yes.
But yeah, it's up to you. No, we're just kind of talking to through some things while before you coming on. We were talking about the NFL and the Washington football team, and they're now starting their 22nd quarterback since the turn of the century. Third in NFL, most quarterbacks start since the
I got
turn of the
7
century.
off the top of my head.
The Bears and the Browns only have more. You have 7 in the past 20 years. You have 7 out of 22.
Make
you
sure
think.
they're on here.
Okay, go for one.
RG3.
Got it.
Alex Smith.
Yep.
Ace Case Keenum.
Yep.
Dwayne Haskins.
Yes.
Donovan McNabb.
Yes.
Colt McCoy.
Colt McCoy. I know he's got to be on here.
I know he started a game because he beat Dallas.
Yep. 2018. Yep. Two
Kirk,
games.
Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
And now I don't know. From there, I can't really remember.
Okay. Well, obviously, if it happens on Sunday, Kyle Allen will put him on there, right?
Okay, yeah.
That's if it gets there. Rex Grossman was on the Washington football team. He started 13
Really?
games in 2011.
Huh.
John Beck
Don't
did
remember.
3 in that. Jason Campbell.
I do remember Campbell, yep.
Todd Collins.
No.
Mark Brunell.
Okay, that was...
Yep. Patrick Ramsey.
Kind of remember that.
He's got like... He went 5, 11, and 7 between 2002 and 2004. Tim Hasselbeck.
Oh, boy.
Danny Werfel.
Oof.
Brad Johnson.
I forgot about that stint. Yeah.
Tony Banks.
Oh, yeah.
And Jeff George.
Jeff George, huh?
Yeah, look at that name.
God, how many teams did he play for? He had a lot.
A buttload.
Man, he had a lot. Because he was... God, I think he was a Colt.
He was drafted by the Colts.
He was a Colt. I think he was a Bear at one point. Was he a Packer ever at one point? I think he was a Ram.
He was a Viking at one point. He was never a Bear.
Okay, Viking, that's right.
He did play for a lot of teams.
How many
drafted
teams?
for Indianapolis. Then he played for the Atlanta Falcons 94 and 95.
Yeah, remember that.
He was drafted in 1990. Then he went to Oakland. Then he went to Minnesota. And then he ended his career in Washington. Yeah, he had a good 11-year career. Man, oh man.
Big Ten guy, right? Purdue?
Yeah.
No, Illinois.
Oh, Illinois. That's right.
Yeah. He was the quarterback when I was in college, in high school.
That's right.
He was the quarterback when you were there?
Yeah.
When you
I
were
was
at
in
Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Now I don't like him anymore. I feel like he's taking some of your thunder. He was pretty good in college.
Yeah, but
he was pretty good.
He was a football player.
I know, but still.
AC would have dunked all over him.
Yeah, I know. Well,
come on.
He was good in college, yeah. First right. All right, AC.
Cannon.
Been a while, my man.
Yes, sir.
Last time since you and I talked, we had to deal with the COVID, and when we've had strange shutdowns here and there, but it's good to have you in studio.
Yeah, last time we did our Zoom.
Yeah,
we did a Zoom.
Yeah.
Call. Yeah, I was in
I
was in the throes of COVID.
Yeah.
Or getting over it, I should say. But
so what have you been up to, my man?
Just navigating the new fall schedule with training with kids and things of that nature. And that has been very, very hard to, every school district is different.
Oh, yeah.
Kids are doing the hybrid. Kids are doing full-on blown school. Some kids are homeschooled. So, between training kids and here in Iowa City, it's very unique navigating this whole thing.
How is it with your own kids? Is it?
My kids are fine. They're pretty much homebodies, and they like to go to the gym and work on their craft, and then they just kind of hang out at home and do their thing. But
is their school? Are they attending at all? Or is it
they
all
are
online?
back attending. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And they're hybrid. So.
Yeah, I know some of the schools here, like if your name ends in a
Right.
certain letter, you
Right.
go or you
Right.
don't go, wherever. How that's the.
So
It's just, man, I can imagine how that can just be.
yeah, it's booking gym time. It's basically put a crunch on gym time because the school feeder teams who used to practice in the school cannot practice in the school anymore. So now they're using the private facilities.
Oh boy.
And so it just basically puts everybody over. We're all moved because of different things. And most of the big events are now going to the private schools or private gyms. So now all the big tournaments and all that used to get to the high schools or colleges are now going to the private gyms like, TBK Center and the new Extreme Center in Coralville, which I'm working with. And I'm happy to do a program there.
Is that the one that they're the Extreme Center where they're hosting the Senior Nationals wrestling?
Yep.
Okay.
I actually got bumped on. I got bumped on Friday. And I got an email last night like, "Oh, you can't train on Friday because they're setting up." So, it's a new 5-court facility plus the arena. The arena is where the women's Iowa volleyball team will play, and then there's 5 courts on the other side of that they use for private use. So it actually helped design that a little bit with the interior.
Well, AC, I had a quick question about some stuff going on at Iowa. Obviously, we know that football is coming back, but we did lose a couple sports, and being that you have your finger, or at least in the pot of that community a lot more than we do, what's kind of the feedback you're hearing on the loss of the swimming programs, the diving programs, and whatnot?
Well,
as
I was, I taught there for 7 years. This year was my first interruption because of COVID. So many of us adjunct instructors were basically laid off.
Right.
And so more than half of my class, I was proud to say, were the non-revenue sports. And so I love to talk to them and see them every day. The golfers, the swimmers, the lacrosse, the volleyball, the track, baseball. And I told them every day, I said, you guys have more value almost than the football and basketball, because even without those non-revenue sports, I wouldn't be able to have a class because I wouldn't have enough students. So I said, you guys have extreme value. And so it's very sad to see that some of those sports have canceled, because I knew some of those kids, and being in the sport and rec department at Iowa, we see those kids every day. They work hard. They come to class. They go to class. They have weird travel schedules, even sometimes more weird than basketball and football. And they still get up and go to school and do get good grades, and they compete at a high level. So it's tough seeing those kids now having their dreams interrupted or canceled, because of the budget cuts. And so,
is there a chance they come back, AC?
I think there is a chance they come back. I know the Pac-12 had worked on something where they were cutting some sports for 3 years, then they were bringing them back. So I think there is a chance for some of those schools to come back. I've been a proponent that I just think we need to dip into the endowments. That's where I think, you look at Iowa, I think they're, $300 million or something crazy in endowments. Michigan is close to $1 billion.
Right.
Some of the other schools like Rutgers and all that, they're over $1 billion. So the money's there. I just think that we shouldn't rely on football and basketball to pay for everything anymore. I think sometimes we just need to dip into wherever the money is, especially for these kids.
Yeah. Well, then that especially, for, like you said, guys like you, the adjuncts, we need to, that is something that's needed, right? You can't just rely on the basic people that are going to high salaried professors, if you will.
That was one of the, not going too much into the academic side, but part of the reason why our undergrad department was able to extend and be able to expand is because we hired so many adjuncts like myself. Because you wouldn't be able to teach all the classes if you were tenure track or a professor or a doctor or tenure track professors. And so the adjuncts basically taught some of the kind of the other classes that aren't required,
right?
And actually extend the major. So that's kind of what we did.
Have you seen any interest, with your Venom Sports and the camps that you put on? Have you seen any interest from young athletes or parents that are asking you to kind of do like your own version of hybrid? Like, let's say you run the camp on Monday, Tuesday type of thing. You run the exact type of camp, but because they're in school on Monday, then they can come on Tuesday or vice versa?
Yes. So we basically moved some dates around especially like on Fridays, we do Friday afternoons at TBK at 3 p.m. for the PV and North Scott kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just the PV and North Scott, huh?
Well, mostly because
I'm just kidding.
Because they're the kids that are not going to school. So
they're not on the Fridays. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, you get inquiries from parents saying, "Hey, if you could do this day, we can come." Versus the regular day that we normally do Quad City Group is 7 p.m. Or 5 p.m.
Yeah, we talked last week with Tyson Blazer, who's a former University of Iowa baseball player. He played in minor leagues, and he does private lessons, and it's opened him up. He's like, now I can start from going at like 2 to 7 when the parents want to get him there instead of before going from 4 to 9.
Exactly. And now, even in Iowa City, I think we do 4 o'clock start because I think they're offline at 3:30 or 3 o'clock. So so everybody has to be kind of flexible in that sense, and that's what we're all doing is we're all being flexible. We're talking to the parents, we're talking to the gyms, and we're talking to the facilities, and we're just trying to be flexible as much as we can.
Well, it's again, you have to come up with new ways to work with what they give you.
Right.
Make the most out of it, and I'm sure it can be a headache or whatever else. But we'll talk more about that, and we'll talk about podcast and the ideas that we've been bouncing off. I know you've got some ideas for names. I said to people on the Harrington's Pub Facebook comment thread to give some suggestions for the names as well, name for your podcast. But I want to talk about that. We want to talk about the NBA Finals going on, Game 5s tonight, and all kinds of, and the potential, I don't know, of Gonzaga, Iowa basketball and the schedule release that they talked about.
Yeah.
I mean, is this going to be one of the worst kept secrets? But we'll talk more about that when we come back and join AC Earl here in studio. Don't Hassle Us for Local at ESPN.
I think I have a name. I'm going to tell you guys off air. I think I got a name for the podcast.
Okay.
I'm very, very inventive.
Okay.
All right, Front Street Brewery is the oldest brew pub in Iowa, nestled right along the bank of the mighty Mississippi, downtown Davenport. They've been there since 1992, serving great beer like the Davenport Gold, the Wise Guide, the Raging River, and the very popular Cherry Bomb Blonde. Remember, you can visit their webpage at www.frontstreetbrew.com or go to the Facebook page for all their food and drink specials. The restaurant, located at 208 East River Drive, and the tap room is in the Freight House Complex. So get on down to our friends at Front Street Brewery today.
You like that? You like that? Give me a hell yeah! I said give me a hell yeah!
This is Turk Wendell, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us. We're local.
Introducing First Midwest Bank's newest branch, Your Home. With our online banking and mobile app, it's easier than ever to make a deposit from the dining room, pay bills from the patio, or get alerts in the loft. The convenience of First Midwest Bank, right from your own home. Visit firstmidwest.com/convenient to get started today. First Midwest Bank, momentum for life. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I've seen the worst things that can possibly happen. This isn't even close to that.
He's back on your radio. Greeny.
I have always felt basketball is a game where the team that is the best player wins. The Lakers would have the 2 best players.
Greeny, covering the top stories with the biggest names. Plus, breaking news.
Only in football do we wonder this aloud, and I just thought it was worth spelling out all of the ways in which Brady changed everything.
Greeny, weekdays at 11 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170. It's the last gasp of the car show season. It's the Iron Invasion. October 9th and 10th at the Mississippi Valley Fairgrounds in Davenport. Live bands on stage. Plus, dirt drag racing, motorcycles, swap meet, camping, and even a classic pinup contest. This is an open-air event held rain or shine. Proceeds go to Helping Hannah's Heart Foundation and benefits kids with congenital heart defects. More details at ironinvasion.com. October 9th and 10th. Be there.
The biggest names in sports coming to your mornings.
Bill Belichick, the six-time Super Bowl champion, is here.
Morning, Coach Bill B.
Great to hear your voice. Congratulations on the show here, and I know you're going to provide a lot of great insight for the fans and even the people in the league. Nobody knows what's going on more than you do.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Mornings on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Play your game with the first bet risk-free, up to $500, only at Elite Sportsbook. Just sign up for a new Elite Sportsbook account and make your first bet online. If it is graded as a loss, we will match it with a free bet up to $500. Visit EliteSportsbook.com for a list of casino locations and sign up today. You will always be in the game with Elite Sportsbook. For a limited time only. Must be 21. Visit EliteSportsbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling a problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Janae and Golick Jr.
The NCAA is still in its old bag of tricks, and we've heard the president, Mark Emmert, say that a bubble is possible for some of the tournaments coming up, looking down the line to March Madness, and it's what makes more farcical the idea that the NCAA or any of the powers in the world of college athletics can look and tell us they're doing as much as they can for what we're about to see in college football. I was on the call for the first college football game this season as Central Arkansas and Austin Peay played, and while everyone involved did what they could, we know ultimately the powers in college sports are preventing the bubbling of athletes because they know what admitting that comes with. And so when they try and sell me that they're doing everything they can, I unfortunately can't believe it because they're already telling us and telling on themselves as they look forward towards the spring that the bubble might not only happen, but it is going to come with plenty of apparel you can buy, all in support of amateurism.
Shanae and Golick Jr. 306 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
Iowa's elections need you. We're looking for poll workers for the upcoming election who can assist with voter check-in and balloting to make Election Day a success in all 99 of Iowa's counties. Many employers offer paid time off if you help at a polling place. Even if yours doesn't, your county auditor will pay you for the time you spent training and working. Are you ready to do your part by doing more than just vote on Election Day? Fill out the form at pollworker.iowa.gov to get involved. Sponsored by the Iowa Secretary of State's Office and the Iowa Broadcasters Association in cooperation with this station.
Open our app to listen live, win stuff, and to sign up for breaking news alerts. Never miss a thing on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
All right, everybody, we're back here in the Hassel Castle with our guest, AC Earl. And we're going to be talking some NBA basketball for sure because if I remember correctly, and I do, Coach Earl's a huge Laker fan.
Yeah.
And I think the last time we were talking, I think it was when we did our Zoom cast, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Basically, Coach Earl and I both said this is LeBron's time to win a title. He needs to get this one now because next year is no guarantee with the way this free agent shakeup's looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like he's taking care of business, although AC, a little bit of me was rooting for that underdog Jimmy Buckets a little bit.
Yeah. The whole Miami story, I think sports are enamored with the story of the underdog. And there's obviously a contingent of LeBron haters.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And people who want to see him lose, especially to a non-superstar team. And then you have the backstory of the Heat and Pat Riley and all that stuff. So, I could, I see it. I don't think it's going to happen, but
I didn't think so either. I thought that, the whole, as it was playing out, I'm like, oh, yeah, would it be neat to see the underdog win? In my head, I'm like, those other teams that they beat, as good as they may have been, are not LeBron and AD on this Lakers squad. Especially with someone with say what you want about Rondo, he's got the chops. He's got the experience in the finals.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those guys are. You know, you like the one thing about LeBron is he has always picked his players wisely. And so, like, you look at he's got the Markieff Morris, he's got Danny Green, he's got JaVale McGee, he's got Dwight Howard. He would have had Avery Bradley. You got Rondo. I mean, that's a pretty good core of guys who can battle and been through it.
Did they bring back J.R. Smith?
And they did bring back J.R. Smith.
They signed him,
yes.
in the bubble, yeah.
Yes.
The same guy that, I mean, that was just the anniversary of that was just not too long. Well,
right.
This not the anniversary because they don't play the finals as deep, but that was a Cavalier team that was that the year after he brought him back from the 3-1, and then yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was a battle. That was a good series too.
But yeah, that's the meme or whatever. So this game's going to be Friday night at 8:00, and this will be Game 5. Lakers lead the series 3-1.
I think the Lakers close. Don't you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, if
I do. I think it was just kind of a
I think LeBron got. I mean, this is just my thought. Him and Jimmy did a little John after the game where Jimmy won.
Well, you had a triple-double and scored 40 points. It's just never happened in finals history
That's
before.
fine, yeah.
40-point triple-double.
But, you know, there were little John right there. And I think, you know, when you wake the tiger up a little bit, sometimes it might not be the smartest idea.
Yeah, you know.
You know.
Well, yeah.
Well, you know, it's a 7-game series. You would expect, 6-7 game series, you would expect Jimmy Butler to go off.
Oh, yeah.
But I did have an interesting debate with my brother. He thinks that Jimmy Butler's a top 10 player in the NBA.
Right now? All time?
No, right now.
Not all time.
Right now.
All right, so let's go
I
through
say
the list
no.
then.
I say no.
I mean, let's just say LeBron's one.
Yeah, in no particular order you go LeBron, Kawhi, James Harden.
Do you count Kevin Durant?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Kevin Durant, Anthony
Steph.
Davis, Steph is 6.
The Greek Freak.
Greek Freak 7, yeah. Damian Lillard 8.
Yep.
Joker 9.
Yeah.
Doncic?
Well, Luka.
Yeah,
Luka, I mean.
10.
Luka's got to go.
Yeah,
He's a
so
wizard.
there you go. So there's a 10 right there. And I think your honorable mention at 11 is maybe Joel Embiid.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
At 11.
You got Ben Simmons, too.
And you got Ben Simmons, 12. And then you still got Paul George at 13. You got Klay Thompson at 14.
I love this.
I
love
yeah,
that we have not mentioned.
So this
Chris
is your
Paul
brother or
yet
your
at all in
brother-in-law?
this.
No, my brother.
All right,
my
your
brother.
was happy that Chris
Listen,
Paul wasn't mentioned.
I'm a Jimmy
Dorian,
Buckets
yep.
fan, but no, he's not top 10.
No.
Not even
And then afterwards, he called me after the game. Oh, you still think he's not? I said, no, it's one game.
No, he had a great game.
It's one game. I mean, I think Joker averaged close to a triple-double. Luka, too, in their playoff series.
Yeah?
Yeah. So, no. He's a good player. Great story,
What happens to the Lakers after this?
You know what? Me and my brother were talking about that too. There's a lot of guys you could free agent or denounce and not bring back, and you're still cutting room for. I don't know all the free agents. I want to say Damian Lillard, LaMarcus Aldridge, maybe the other guy from San Antonio, the guy they traded from Toronto.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. I think he's a free agent. I want to say you got either like Ben Simmons or maybe Drew Bledsoe. I don't know, somebody like that. I think Klay Thompson.
The rumors that are going around, according to the Ringer.com,
Draymond
is the new place. New place that where the free agent is looking for to like hook up the place to get a kind of go to a team that is right there. The Miami Heat is the destination.
Yes,
right now.
because and that's
role
what
players
they're.
and then,
you got the role players and they got supreme cap space. That's a Pat Riley staple. Is he always has cap space for that unique free agent. So he doesn't just wait and do cap space when everybody does it. He does it pretty much every other year.
Okay. Let's do this then. As it stands right now, there are 6 teams. 5 teams that have not hired a coach yet. Okay? Keep in mind, Philadelphia's hired Doc Rivers.
Right.
Knicks hired Tibbs.
Yeah.
Nets hired Steve Nash.
Yeah.
The Bulls hired Billy Donovan. I don't know. I remember more of Billy Donovan when he was at Florida as the coach. Okay, well, I believe he won back-to-back NCAA titles there.
Yeah, great. Yeah, with that Joakim Noah team and all those guys.
And he was just at Utah, right? Or Denver?
Who? Billy Donovan?
Billy Donovan, yeah.
OKC.
Okay, so there it is. Yeah, OKC. So, but the Bulls got him. Interesting. I know Tibbs coached for the Bulls as well. He's going to the Knicks. That's a nightmare scenario. That's not going to end well, probably. And then the Nets hired Steve Nash. Well, where did this come from?
The Nets hire?
Nets hired Steve Nash.
Yeah.
The Nets hire, the backstory is he was a consultant with Golden State and got close to Kevin Durant. And the guy who I think is the GM now or running the Nets came from Golden State. Maybe Sean Marks or somebody like that. They had they had a relationship there, and that's what you always hear. It's a relationship. Somebody had a relationship.
Okay.
So that relationship was Sean Marks, I believe, taking Steve Nash from that consulting gig, moving him over, and then Kyrie and Durant signing off on it. And basically, Kyrie is kind of Durant's yes boy. So whatever Durant wants to do, Kyrie's going to sign off on because Kyrie wants to follow somebody else versus LeBron.
But it's going to be that team's going to be interesting when KD's.
Oh
back.
yeah, I mean, in coaching alone, I think Doc Rivers said it. I think coaching alone is worth 5 wins a season, at least. Depending on football, it's a little different.
I can see that, especially out of Toronto with Nick Nurse.
Yeah, so 5 games they're going to lose because Steve Nash did the wrong thing at the wrong time. So, yeah, it's be interesting to see who his staff is.
Is he going to be a good coach, you think, AC?
You would think from his playing career, yes.
And you would think, the guy was.
If Mark Jackson did it, yes.
Nash was a very good player.
Right. And Mark Jackson was the same way, elite point guard.
Yeah.
But it even took Doc Rivers years.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of floundered around in Orlando. He had great players in Boston,
Yeah.
It always helps.
But he's gotten much better X and O wise than he ever did. So I don't know. I think the Nash hire was a little bit off the radar, a lot off the radar. It doesn't make a lot of sense. All the great assistants are hired already. That's the problem. There's Jason Kidd's not leaving. Tyrone Lue's not leaving. Sam Cassell's not leaving. Some of those guys that you need on the bench aren't leaving their gigs or who they're kind of tied to be a Steve Nash assistant. Yeah. So look for Ty Lue to pop up somewhere.
All right. If you need to write him down, write him down. I want to rank right now the 5 spots. Which is the best for a new leader to want to coach at? If you're coaching right now, AC, T-Roy, for as much as you follow T-Roy, what is the spot you want to go? Here are the 5 openings, okay?
Okay.
The Rockets, the Indiana Pacers, the Clippers, New Orleans Pelicans, Oklahoma City Thunder.
So it's for sure Clippers. And that's probably Tyrone Lue.
It's probably one. That's where you want to go first, right? If you had your choice. You have your choice out of the 5. That would be number 1, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So, it's probably...
Because they have
that's
all
probably
the players
Ty Lue.
and all the players are in place.
But they have like one more contract, both of them. Kawhi and one more year in Paul George.
Yeah, but if you go there and you can win...
1 year, but they were supposed to do it this year, and look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well...
I know. You're putting it... What about, though, the Pelicans?
See, I would put the Pelicans at 1 or 2.
I'd put them at 2.
Because I want to coach Zion.
I put them at 2, but you also have to, when you take these jobs, the biggest thing is the owner. If they're going to go over the luxury tax, that's the That's the underlining question. Are you going to go over the luxury tax?
Clippers, yes.
Yes.
Houston, yes.
Well, Houston's gone over the luxury tax.
Yes, that's
and
what
so
I'm saying.
I don't think they're going to do it anymore.
New Orleans, I don't know. Oklahoma City, I don't know. In Indiana,
No,
I
think
no
OKC
idea.
is in a reboot mode.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're going to do.
OKC to me would be the last place I want to coach on this list.
The OKC, yeah. And look for guys,
I wouldn't want to
like, for instance, look for a guy like Jason Kidd, if they win it, to come take any one of those jobs to get back in coaching. And look for a guy like Sam Cassell, do the same thing.
I would put the Pacers at 3.
Yeah.
And the Rockets at 4. My reason behind that.
East.
Yeah, East.
Yeah.
And with the Rockets, I just feel that
and the Pacers aren't bad. The Pacers got a nice nucleus.
My problem with the Rockets, I feel they play too much isolation basketball.
Well, I think they're going to reboot that.
But you follow. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think they're going to reboot that.
And
I think they got
but can you get Harden to not?
Yeah, who's on the hiring committee? Harden. I mean, you're everything's going through Harden, right?
It's a tough job.
Well, Harden,
Russell, Russell,
and Russell.
Yeah, it's a tough job. That's a tough gig. That might be the worst gig there.
I say OKC is because I just have it. For me, it's the city. You're in the middle of Oklahoma, and I'm terrified of tornadoes. It has nothing to do with the players.
Yeah. Well,
but
I mean, that's a reboot.
Yeah, but that's a total rebuild.
Total tear down. Yeah. But that's a young coach job.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't like the Doc Rivers hire in Philadelphia.
I think that's a great hire. I think they need somebody who understands basketball and being a professional and not trying to be their friend. I think that's the hardest thing is coaching now, is coaching these young guys, is you can't be their friend. And that's what they're used to. They've had that.
Yeah, Brett Brown was
in the AAU level. They've had that since these guys are 14, 13. They've been told they're the best player. They can do anything they want to do. They're not held completely accountable all the time. And we've seen that. And they make young, bad decisions, sometimes on and off the court. And you need somebody like Doc Rivers to go in there and teach these young guys how to be pros. Kind of like Brendan Malone, or Brendan Malone's son at Denver. I had Brendan Malone at Toronto. He came from Detroit. He was the guy who orchestrated the Jordan rules. And he's teaching these young guys how to play, teaching Jamal Murray, teaching Jokic, teaching Michael Porter Williams, all these guys how to play, how to be a pro.
CJ, you need to listen to him because this is the man who told you that the Golden State Warriors were not going to make the playoffs.
I know.
I did say that.
He called it for the season.
So
I did say that.
Yeah, as far as the other hire, I mean, I like the Billy Donovan for the Bulls. I want nothing but the best for them because it's better for us in this area. It's better for basketball in this area if the Bulls are doing well.
Yeah, I miss.
That's a tough job too.
Yeah, it is, really is.
That's a tough job too. I'm not sold on Zach LaVine. I don't know what he is.
A slam dunk champion, and that's it.
But he's proven he's more than that. But I don't know if he can do that on a good team, night in, night out. Very inconsistent, very moody. Can play, and then sometimes just turns it off. But I like watching him play. But I just don't know what he is. Is he a poor man's Paul George?
Ooh, that's.
Is he a poor man's Oladipo?
That's almost mean.
Yeah.
Is he a poor man's Ben Simmons? What is he?
And what happened with Paul George, by the way? I mean, this playoff Paul and all this, and he just, bedwetter more than anything.
Yeah.
And I had a great amount of respect for him, especially when he was a Pacer.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think he was coached by a great coach, Frank Vogel, and I didn't think Frank Vogel was that good of a coach. But I have newfound more respect for him because I do remember he used to take the LeBron teams to the brink. And a bounce here or there, you could have went the other way. But and I think a lot of these guys, it's all who you're coached by, and that's why I stand by the Doc Rivers as a great hire for Philly. And I don't think there's any job he might have ever that he could probably take, maybe the Rockets job, to have that effect.
That might be a perfect fit, though.
Yeah. I think it's a perfect fit.
Wow.
But, we'll see.
I don't know if, and again, you can tell me if I'm wrong, if Doc Rivers is that much of an outside-the-box thinking that he's going to do what
Well, if you
Dan
think about
Antonio
it,
had
though,
to
Jay,
do when he went small lineup, which was crazy.
Garnett and Pierce, those guys loved him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very well respected, and like Casey said, it wasn't because he was a coddler.
Ray, KG, Pierce are also the type of guys that played more in street ball, not AAU, being told that they were perfect the entire time.
Right. I mean,
they looked at him like, hey, this guy played the game. That's it.
You look at KG, he had McHale on him. You look at Ray Allen, he had Jim Calhoun.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Paul Pierce, he had Bill Self.
And everybody, like, he's saying about, like, it's the professionalism that he's going to take to the Sixers, and that's what they needed, how to act, how to be the player on the field, how to work hard.
How to be consistent night in, night out, how to beat low
That's just a message out there for all the parents and or student athletes that are out there. A couple things. If you're a parent and you physically walk a Gatorade to the athlete when they're playing a sport, and that kid throws a fit because it's a fruit punch, not a lemon lime, you're not doing him any favors.
Well, here's the other part of it. They walked the Gatorade to him so they could say something to him.
Yeah, that too.
Very upfront and not having to yell it. So they go, hey, here's your Gatorade. Hey, by the way.
I wanted salmon. I said it 9 times.
Shoot the ball next time.
Don't listen to what he's saying. Go out, get after it. No, it's that does make sense because that's how they get their little messages in there. But I've just had it with because I've talked to and more college coaches that will say we kind of also watch the interaction that the player has with the coach or with their parents. If they're gonna yell at their mom and say, I want to barbecue sunflower seeds that regular, they're like, I don't want to deal with this. The kid's been told he's great and he's being coddled to the entire time. So like you said, then that's actually could be something that the Sixers need. I don't know. I don't know if it's really just a split between Simmons and Embiid.
Yeah, I just think I do think it's a bad fit between those two players. They just don't play well together. I do think it's their playing styles. Embiid wants to float around mostly, and that's kind of what Ben Simmons does. He floats around. You necessarily can't have two floaters, just like you can't have two post players in the post. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of wondered how it was going to fit between Paul George and Kawhi because you have two elite wing players who need to catch the ball on the wing to be successful. And so I kind of thought that was a bad fit, But,
Real quick before we go to break, let's talk about the NBA Finals and talk about the TV ratings. Right now, the NBA Finals is a record low viewership. We can look at it a couple ways. The reshuffling of the sports calendar has thrown us all into a whack of what we're used to doing.
I definitely think that's a huge effect.
Yeah. The other one would be that we're in the middle of a global pandemic. People are preoccupied with other things. It doesn't matter from trying to figure out sports schedules that aren't normal the same to your own schedule and or cutting the cord to save prices, to save money.
I think it's a combination of everything you just said.
And then you've got Ted Cruz, who on Twitter decided to poke a little bit at the NBA, talking about how that the numbers are low because fans aren't watching due to the league's social justice messaging. Mark Cuban didn't like this, told Ted Cruz to stick it, basically.
I don't think that has much to do. I'll tell you what I do think, and this goes back to the beginning of the year, I do think that the relationship with China before the pandemic ever hit, I think that did have an effect on some people. But I'll tell you what, I think the 100% the biggest reason behind any of it, if you're gonna, if you have all those instances, and I don't think the one Ted Cruz is saying has much to do with it. I think the other ones have a little bit to do with it, but I think the biggest thing right now we're playing the NBA Finals. What just started at the same time? NFL is going on, and Major League Baseball Finals playoffs are going on.
Yeah.
So you basically have the number 1 sport and the number 3 sport going head, all going head to head with the number 2 sport, all in there.
Yeah, I mean everybody's playing. Everything's going on. I also think it's the schedule.
Yeah,
it's just and at one point the NBA there was an NBA game on every night.
Yeah.
And that's different for viewership. Like, I'm an NBA fan. I watch it every night, but the casual NBA fan is not watching it every night. They're used to catching it on Thursday or Sunday or Friday night, ESPN doubleheader, or TNT Thursday night.
Well, or in June.
Yeah.
We are in the very boring era of baseball.
Yes. And it's an election year.
Yeah.
They've always said an election year, the viewership is down.
Yeah, 100%. During the 2016 election, NFL ratings dropped 14%, then rebounded. NFL ratings are down 10% through week 4.
Yep.
Will Like of the New York Magazine had a good quote. It says, "Sports work best when they skew your perspective, when they fool you into thinking they are more important than they actually are. But it's pretty tough to be fooled right now." And that's more of a point to the global pandemic that people are focusing on me, myself, and I, and my family before I'm worried about, turning up, making sure I have to watch a game.
Right.
So, yes, the election year is one. But it's interesting because, early in this, AC, before we go to break, we talked about it, and I said that I think this is going to stay. I think this whole thing is going to go from the NBA will now tip off on Christmas to do whatever.
Yeah, I think I've heard January now.
Okay, January. But if the viewership is down, it's going to be a situation of like, what do we, how are we going to do this? Like, how do we ease our way back to the normal routine we used to have?
I think the new normal is coming. Yeah.
If we tip off in January, where does it put our playoffs? Where does it put the NBA
Same time where we're at right now.
I think it's a bad move.
Well, they just say that they don't have enough time to rest, reboot, do the draft, and do free agency and go over numbers for the new year.
I think actually what looking at would be more late July, early August before the NFL hits.
Mm-hmm.
They want to.
I'm with that. If they can get the playoffs and everything concluded,
it would be
by August 1st.
It would be pretty much July
or the first week of August, because you can survive that first week of August, because basically that's just NFL preseason that nobody really cares about, and nothing's happening college football wise either. So you can't get it into September, October. I'm sorry, you can't go this far.
Right.
It shows, and I'm telling you, that's why I think that is down.
Yeah, and I think they're also getting away with it because the college football is down. You know, they're not playing all the way, so it'd be totally different if college football was full blown.
Yeah. If college football was, in 3 weeks when the Big Ten hits, that's going to be huge.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's going to be way huge.
That's,
So, and they'll be done, obviously, but that's going to be a big deal. But, I think, Jay, they have to. If they start in January, that's fine, but they have to make sure they're done in that time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the thing that basically I think they're going to look at and say, like, we want to capitalize when it's just the MLB. And again, during that time when it's normal time, July and August, we're kind of like, All-Star game.
Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't watch hardly any NBA. I would watch the Christmas game. So if they started basically, their first game of the year on Christmas Day or whatever, and do that, that's fine.
That's always been their big day.
Yeah. I watched tip-off usually for the week. I wanted to pay attention when they came back to the bubble, see how it was, and I was more involved in the first round than I was any other round for the NBA. I don't know why. Maybe it's because there were so many games and they were on like at 1:30 in the afternoon type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was paying attention to a lot more of the games than even now I am in the finals.
Yeah. But it's hard to watch also with no home crowd and away crowd. That's a big thing. There's no aura. There's no somebody going to somebody else's gym and have to perform.
Have you have you tried to do a Zoom so that you're in the crowd, AC?
No, I don't have that access. I do have a few friends that do.
Really?
But I don't have that access.
Did they get in? Did they get on the screen?
Oh, yeah.
They've been on there?
Yeah.
Sitting next to Barack Obama?
Yeah, not that far. No. No, I have a guy who works for Pepsi in Miami, and so they have Pepsi has all the teams there. So they got the Heat and the Marlins and the football with the Dolphins.
So he just got to be on the screen?
Yeah, so they gave him a pass, yeah.
So I'd like to talk to that guy because I'd like to know, like, what is he just watching the game through then and he's just supposed to be like, yeah, rah, 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 like be a pump up guy?
I don't know. He just said he had to pass. He said he has the access. So.
Gosh, I bet you there's all kinds of things that he cannot do, like, or else you're just banned forever. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he's a Pepsi rep. He loves his job, so I don't think he's going to do anything.
I'm just saying,
you can't hold up any signs that have any profanity.
No, you can't do that. I mean, there's been some times where, like, and I don't want to, like, It's been reported. I never saw it. I can't dig down, so I don't want anyone to come back and be like, don't spread this fake stuff. But it's been reported like there was like because the WWE is doing the same thing.
Oh, really?
Having people around, and there's like someone with like a swastika armband that's in the thing, Zoom, and they're like, and then like the next week they're like, yeah, there was a guy with a white hood on, like, and like, you guys, someone's got to stop this stuff. Like, you can't let this happen. So
now the one thing that on the lighter side of life, at least. I was seeing this thing on the internet, and it was a Zoom call for a school, and some younger kids, obviously, and they were, Zoom learning or whatever you want to call it. And the kids, typical. The one kid had fallen asleep, so you can see him in the camera, and the teacher's like, "Hey," and she's saying his name, and then all of a sudden, the little kid on the top screen, naked mother, and went to get something behind.
Oh no!
And the teacher's like, "Turn your screen off."
Yeah. Oh no.
Wow.
So then all of a sudden you hear the mother hear the kid's name and then realizes that she's in the camera shot.
Wow.
So yeah. Some of the
I'm sure there's going to be
some of the backfires.
a show dedicated to that.
They're
Zoom.
already they're doing one now. Like NBC's going to launch one.
Really?
What it's like to be like in the pandemic Zoom type of thing. Yeah.
Right. Zoom.
Like how to hang out with your friends, I guess.
Right.
Or whatever.
Zoom miscues.
My friends are still like, they're my age. They're older. They don't really spend too much time in Zoom, and if they have to, it's usually work related. We did that during the pandemic a couple times. Like, oh, grab a beer, let's have a conversation, and they were like, yeah, no, we're all right. I'd rather just text a group text than do this.
You two probably don't watch South Park, or maybe you do.
I watched it. I don't watch it.
So they did their last week. Was
I heard about that one.
And Cartman basically faked, and then he puts his picture of his face, and then he goes and screws off the whole time.
Yeah.
But, it's like what we all said. Like, some kid's going to figure it out.
Oh,
yeah. So, one more story before we go to break. Griffin Deer, TJ Deer's kid, right? There must have been some type of cutout when he was at Bettendorf. So, kind of like that, right? So, he, like, on TikTok showing, like, how to skip class in the COVID time. So, he, like, takes his cutout, puts it in a chair, puts a hat on him, like, puts a different, because it's Bettendorf jersey, but puts a T-shirt over the thing, puts a hat on him, sits it right there. Now, I know it's probably for laughs or whatever, TikTok, but it's pretty smart.
Yeah, until the teacher asks, Griffin, what do you think?
Until they do that. All right, we're going to take a break. We're in studio with AC Earl here at Don't Hassle us. We're local.
Buddy.
Sure.
Okay.
Want to talk to you about our friends Paul Shelley from Just Doors QC. You guys know it, and I know it. When it comes to anything, as far as curb appeal, increase your home value, maybe you have a draft coming in underneath the door, which that's winter months are coming. You need to increase your value. Go ahead and call Paul at Just Doors QC. That's 309-657-8541. You'll be able to notice him driving around the Quad Cities. He's got his red ambulance company truck rolling around there. Go ahead and take a look at their Facebook page. You can see the before and after photos. Yesterday I told you about Murphy doors, how they're a nice little way of hiding your door, and you can create a work atmosphere in your home. Some of you are doing that as well. But it's not just front doors, it's closet doors, and there's also interior and exterior work as well. Go ahead and give Paul a call at 309-657-8541. Go to their Facebook page to see the before and after photos. Please like and follow when you get there. We'll be right back. Don't Hassle Us for Local here on ESPN 1170 AM.
You like that? You like that? Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah.
This is UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich. You're listening to Don't Hassle Us. We're local.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me in my classes when I give attention to detail to the task at hand. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed. Also, the Army National Guard's education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Iowa Army National Guard. Aired by the Iowa Broadcasters Association and this station.
The Circle Tap in Davenport is your place to catch all the action this football season. Enjoy $2 cans for every Iowa and Iowa State game and watch every NFL game with the NFL Sunday Ticket on one of their 16 flat-screen TVs. Get $2 domestic cans and $6 pulled pork sandwiches and fries every Sunday. Book your holiday party now and enjoy the heated patio for your next event. Enjoy great food, great drinks, and great friends all season long at the Circle Tap, West Locust Street, Davenport.
This is Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
There is absolutely nothing, for example, the New York Jets can do this season that is going to change the fact that they're going to be a terrible football team. So does firing the coach help? Well, they're trying to develop a young quarterback in Sam Darnold. And all of you across the country who may not see a lot of him saw why Jet fans like me remain hopeful about him. Because he obviously has so much physical ability, but he still makes terrible mistakes, and so much of that can be laid at the feet of the brilliant offensive mind whose job it is to develop him. And so I guess my feeling is, if the head coach is doing such a bad job that the team can't beat anybody, that they commit 11 penalties in a game, including multiple dirty late hits, including one on the very last play of the game that had the opposing coach telling his players run off the field before we have a brawl out here. And oh, by the way, the quarterback is regressing.
Greeny, weekdays at 11 on the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170.
From lines of credit in Chicagoland to equipment finance loans in the Quad Cities to better cash flow in Milwaukee, First Midwest Bank is committed to using our local knowledge and ideas to help our clients get their business momentum back. Visit wehaveideas.firstmidwest.com. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
I'm running with Axel the Giant Woolly Alaskan Malamute on our way to the Midwest Animal Assisted Therapy and Education Organization Community Outreach Center at North Park Mall. You have people waiting there for you that are having difficulty with the way life has changed as a result of COVID-19 and the storms that have hit the Quad Cities. You're going to introduce some new animal friends that are going to help at the Community Outreach Center at North Park Mall. Let me open the door for you. Hello, everyone. Axel's very happy to see all of you and is looking forward to helping everyone relax, reset, and recover. And now he'd like to introduce our newest animal friends to help everyone today. Introduce yourself. Amazing. These are your friends, the Tigers in a Tank, and they're here to help everyone relax, reset, and recover from the effects of COVID-19 and any of the other emotions that are interfering with daily life. I'll tell him. Axel and his animal friends are looking forward to seeing each and every one of you this weekend at the Community Outreach Center at North Park Mall. Go to COVID19ESA.org and follow them on Facebook. Tell them the Tigers sent you.
From the Sheedy Family Chiropractic Studios, this is the Quad City Sports Leader, ESPN 1170 AM, KBOB Davenport.
All right, everybody, we're back. We're talking basketball with AC Earl here in the Hassel Castle. Couldn't have a better day for it. It's beautiful outside. Hope you're enjoying it while you're listening to us.
Speaking of basketball, we're all really excited about the University of Iowa and their basketball team.
Heck yeah,
They're
we
returning a very well-rounded starting five. The thing that's going out right now.
I'll tell you what, though, before you get too far in it, the way the schedule's looking, they have a tough schedule.
Well, there's 27 games. 20 of them are going to be played in the Big Ten only. Fran hasn't brought out too much. He did say that they're trying to keep the Iowa State game, which is always a good game for them.
And the ACC Big Ten Challenge.
The ACC Big Ten Challenge, he says he still feels good about that. The one that's got the biggest
they're thinking
smoke.
About playing Duke, right?
No, the biggest smoke. When there's smoke, there's fire. And this is reported also by CBS, and CBS has an agreement. They're a TV partner with the NCAA tournament. They're usually really good about this. It's the idea that Gonzaga, which some are predicting will be the preseason number one, Iowa will play them on December 19th at the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. December 19th is what they're saying. Now, Fran's been quiet about it. He hasn't said much. But it's an interesting game. Obviously, Gonzaga needs this because they're in the West Coast Conference. And what's going on now, they've got to get into more Power 5 conferences.
Mm-hmm. Gonzaga needs it more than Iowa.
Yes. Iowa was originally scheduled to face Oregon State on December 22nd, but that game is reportedly off, according to CBS. Gonzaga's game against Iowa would also replace a scheduled game that Gonzaga had against Texas Tech. The fun thing about this game is the date. December 19th is a Saturday.
Oh, Big Ten title game.
There you go.
Football
Big
title
Ten
game.
football on that day. Now, it's very possible that they could play the previous night if they're not in the championship, but that's a big day, and that's a lot of fun.
It's great to be a Hawk.
Yeah. Iowa's 2-1 all-time against Gonzaga. The one loss was an 87-68 loss in the 2015 NCAA tournament in the round of 32. Game was played in Seattle in 2015. So that's one. Yes, Gonzaga needs it more than Iowa does.
Man. The Zags have been...
But it puts Iowa on the map to see where they're at, and it helps them in because there's only 27 games, 7 are out of conference. It helps them no matter what.
It'll help them tremendously. It's almost taking a page out of the Tom Izzo. You know, play tough teams early.
Yeah.
Get a gauge of what your team can do and show them what it's like to play a really good tournament, tough team. So I like it.
It's a great idea.
You know, you're a top 5 team, so
and I honestly, in my eyes, I feel that Few's grown the Zags into, a blue blood.
Oh yeah. I mean, in this day and age, if a kid, like my son, he's a freshman, he would know the success of Gonzaga from the last 10 years of him growing up versus me knowing it differently.
Right.
Like even if he came to our house and said, "Oh, it's between you and North Carolina, or you and Kansas, or you and Michigan State," like me, I'm always going to go towards those programs because of the storied history. But he would look at it like, well, Dad, Gonzaga is just as good or better than.
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about this. Like, I'll give you 2 opposite ends right now. If he had the choice between Gonzaga or Georgetown.
Exactly.
Now, you and I.
Yeah. See, I was trying to good reference. Good job.
You and I look at Georgetown in a whole different light.
Well, yeah. And Mutombo just sent his son there.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
nice.
Mutombo's got a son, Ryan Mutombo.
Well, that might change things for Georgetown then.
And I think he's rated a 71, I thought I saw.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a totally different. And it's funny because we sat with Patrick with a bunch of coaches at the last men's Final Four in Minneapolis. And so, I'm looking at it like, this is Patrick Ewing, the all-time great. And my son's just looking at it like, oh, that's just Patrick Ewing from the Knicks. And, great guy, but really never won a championship. So, I'd be like, hey, if Pat wants you, go play with Patrick. But he'd be like, Dad, I'm going out in Gonzaga and play from a powerhouse. So
I mean,
you're right.
Think about some of those games between them and St. John's. I mean, at the time when we were kids.
Oh, yeah.
St. John's was huge back then. Even Syracuse.
Oh yeah.
Is it?
Well, I mean,
what
I
they
grew
used
up
to
on
be.
that. I mean, I always wanted to go to Georgetown. That's one of the first letters I got was from Georgetown. And
oh wow.
So when they went with Alonzo, obviously, I was like, well, I'm not going to, Georgetown.
Yeah.
And Alonzo's my, we're high school class together. But it's funny that day we were sitting with Patrick. We were talking about the greatest college players of all time. So it was me, Darrell Walker, Walter McCarty, Patrick Ewing, and another coach I don't remember, and then me and my son. And so Darrell Walker thought that Bill Walton was the greatest college player of all time. And I agree. Greatest college basketball player of all time would either be Bill Walton or Christian Laettner. Those are in my era, I would say Christian Laettner. In the older guys' time, it'd probably say Bill. Like when you hear Van Gundy and those guys talk, they're gonna say Bill Walton.
Wouldn't Lou Alcindor be in there though? And the problem is because he didn't play his freshman year though.
3 years.
Because he could, but the possibility is when you leave the unknown to be like, but if he would have played his freshman year.
What about Danny Manning?
No.
Danny Manning's good.
No?
Christian Laettner.
No, but he's on. I think he's on Vitel's all-time top 5.
Okay.
I think it's Jerry West, or I think it's Jerry West, Bill Walton, Christian Leitner, I think Ralph Sampson. Now I'd put Ralph Sampson ahead of.
Yeah.
I'd put Ralph Sampson up ahead of a lot of guys, actually.
I think in my head as a kid, Patrick Ewing was definitely up there.
Yeah, and he thought he was the best player. So in this conversation,
no, this is awesome.
Yeah,
he sat there. He was like, "F that," you know.
Yeah, good for him.
It was me.
I love it.
and I'm just sitting there, you know. So they're looking at me, and I'm just trying to say, "Well, okay, but you only won one title."
Yeah. You're actually known more for losing the one against North Carolina.
Right. So you won one title in 4 years. Christian Leitner won two or three.
And he's 10
and I think he's all-time leading scorer.
Walton won 4.
Huh?
Walton won 4.
I think Walton won 4.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah.
Ralph Sampson did not win one.
The Phi Sigma Jam guy.
Nobody's in the Weber's not in the conversation?
No.
No.
Only I don't think you can really get in it if you didn't play 4 years.
Okay.
I love it's kind of like with Patrick saying it, it's like when we just talked about Aaron Rodgers saying that when I have a bad year, it's a good. I'm with Pat. I like that. I'm with him saying it.
Are you the most intimidating college player of all time? Most dominating? Probably so.
Yeah. Oh, he just was a outstanding beast.
I mean, I was sitting there telling him things that he forgot he had did. That, you know, I said, I remember the time you played North Carolina your freshman year, you goaltended the first 3 shots on purpose.
Wouldn't you love to be a bird on AC's shoulder just for some of this stuff?
Absolutely.
You know, but it's funny, like, and my son's just sitting there looking at this like, this really can't be real. Like, there's Darrell Walker over here. There's Walter McCarty, who they end up beating Duke at Duke, right?
Mm-hmm.
The next following year. You know, and I said, yeah, Walter played at Kentucky. He played with Antoine Walker and all these guys. So my son's just sitting there like, oh, okay. That's how it goes, Dad. We just show up in a lobby.
Yeah, this is how good he has it, does he?
And then Fran comes over. And then so Fran sees us, and Fran comes over, and Fran tells Patrick, oh, he's already spoken for. And Patrick Patrick stands up and tells Fran, well, if I want him, I could get him. And so, you know, this pretty interesting conversation.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is good stuff.
Right.
All right. What do you think will be the hardest thing? Let's just put your time at Carver. If they're playing without fans, as opposed to fans being there.
You know, the fans really do juice you up. It's the aura, the fans, people talk, some guys say it, the popcorn. You know, when the popcorn machine is on, you know it's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
Good point. You know, it's especially for college guys. Like, I figured this out in my senior year, junior year. At home, I shot 50-something percent, 52%, 54%. On the road, I shot 40-something percent. You know, it's just being at home. And I think especially for young guys, it won't affect guys like too much with Garza and those guys. And Bohannon, you know, but the young guys, and that's always the case, even with the bench players and the pros, the young guys feed off the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
You know, seeing your wife, your girlfriend, your mom and dad, and all that stuff plays a humongous role. So, I mean, you know, I think we've seen that in sports since this whole pandemic is, I think what they say, there's more over games than there's. I think in the NFL, they said, they said the first
week was kind of the
first 4 weeks was the 3 weeks was the most points. They're over 16, I think.
Yeah, week 1, the average over/under was 47. By week 4, it was 54, which is one of the longest, biggest jumps they've had since I think like the referee strike.
Right.
So,
so you're definitely seeing it. So you're definitely seeing it on the defensive side, and you're definitely seeing it on the offensive side where players feel more free. That there's not enough resistance.
Is there like because I mean, obviously your fans there, and I guess they probably have changed things, but from court to court, being on your own home court, it's got to mean something. But is there like when you're playing, is there like a dead area of the court? Like you're like, oh, I want to force this guy to dribble up to the side of the court.
Not on the good courts, but there was on the you know, they're like
the old Boston Garden.
Yeah, so like Dennis Johnson knew all the dead spots, and so it's funny. He was my assistant my first year, So when we would have shoot around at the old Boston Garden, you would see him get a ball and he would dribble and he'd tell these young guys, he'd say, watch this. And the ball would bounce regular and he'd go over here and it would dead out. Mm-hmm. And he used to force guys to the dead spot because then he'd go around and poke around and get the ball. So, yeah.
I just didn't know, like,
that's crafty.
If you're playing in other places, if
I
some courts are
don't think there's anything that bad out there anymore.
I'm sure.
God, well, you would hope not, right? Not in this
the
day and age.
Old Minnesota, they still play there, right?
Oh God, don't get me started about that place.
Now, I hated playing there.
Thank you.
It was on a
God,
stage.
Jay, you gonna make it?
It was on a stage. It was on a stage. You had to go up six stairs on a stage.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like an old gym floor. The ball would bounce and it'd be hollow.
So like the bench was like a dugout almost?
Yeah.
Like you were down in?
Doesn't Vanderbilt do the same? Wake Forest do the same?
Vanderbilt
yeah,
does. And we played there for our tournament game.
Well, I remember that title game a few years ago where that guy broke his leg. That's how that bench looked in the title game.
That was Kentucky or no.
That was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Yeah.
Kevin Ware.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't like that building, by the way, and I haven't watched a basketball game
you know
there.
what? The depth perception is off. Like more people miss free throws and shooting percent because and it's dark.
Right.
There's a window on one side.
Yeah.
That the lights come through, and on the other side it's completely dark. Depending on what time you play, you got to glare.
That's the worst.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a bar.
It's not.
It's
yes,
a bar.
it's a bar.
That's what they call it. The bar.
So,
Yeah.
Well, okay. So you've got this raised court. And I can't tell you or know like how far it goes beyond.
It does. There is an extended area, so you're not going to go off of it.
It's a matter of about how much though. And I also the beginning of when we were in the bubble for the NBA, one of the things I really enjoyed was there wasn't media down there, and so actually the aggressive like dunks or whatever else, like they were going full on. They could run through because they're not going to hit anybody. Mm-hmm. And now, do you think it? Obviously, like you said, there is a runoff area, but there's still got to be a certain situation in your brain that's kind of telling you, like, don't get too crazy.
The sideline is like that.
Yes. So ball goes out of bounds.
Yes.
Like
the
you're
sideline is like
I really don't know like what the University of Iowa has come out and said, and I'm sure they're waiting before they do that. But it would be really, really weird to be at Carver without fans there. I mean, like you said, I think that's the best thing out there. You smell popcorn, you know it's a different type of game because I mean you're there for shoot around, you're there to do everything else.
Yeah,
but,
I mean I think they're going to probably do some kind of parent deal.
Yeah,
you know what they're
this
doing.
This is definitely going to be the year that one of the years of the few that I can remember in my lifetime that, I mean, this is going into an Iowa basketball season. This is as hyped as I can remember. I mean, I wasn't. I wasn't living
top 5, aren't they?
I wasn't living here. I wasn't living here when AC was there. I wasn't here for those years, but I do remember the couple years prior when they were number 1 with BJ and Roy, and it was the '88 season.
Was there
Carfino was prior to that, but that was the Loot years were pretty hyped too with the Twin Towers. But this is one of the first times in at least 2-3 decades that I can remember.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That this kind of hype surrounding an Iowa basketball team, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope there are fans. I really do.
I know it's a reluctant thing because there's too many years in between when you've had this much hype for an Iowa basketball. In between, you've had supposed big years for Iowa football, and it's fizzled out right away. So I know there's going to be the average Iowa fans going to be.
To show you how terrible I was at predicting what was good and bad. When they hired Steve Alford and they hired Coach Ferentz the same year, I said that the Ferentz hire was terrible, and that Steve Alford hire was insanely good. And that would backfire on him for hiring Ferentz.
Well, yeah, because there was talk that they could get
Bobby Stoops.
And
that's different.
Wasn't it Pelini too?
At the time, Bo was still off a defensive coordinator at LSU, I believe.
But I thought there was talk.
Yeah,
the whole thing with that was that everyone wanted Stoops, but
Yeah.
It was that Bowlesby wouldn't do it under the table handshake agreement.
Just so you know, I'm the one that thought Alford was a good signing.
Well, he looked like it when he beat Connecticut, right?
A lot of people did. He
They
just
came right out and beat the
off
defending national champs.
Yeah, he came from he got to the Sweet 16.
Well, who was he coaching prior to that? Was
Missouri State.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is Southwest
Bobcats.
Southwest Missouri State.
Yeah.
Now Missouri State. Yeah.
Or Bearcats, Bobcats.
Yeah.
Bearcats.
Yeah. And then ended up backfiring a little bit, but I should have remembered how much I hated him when he was a Hoosier. I should have remembered that.
Yeah.
Who did you real quick before we go to break in college? Who did you despise? Like, I mean, I'm not just like, oh, I hate playing against him. They're a good player. Like, you're like, you know what? If I saw that guy at the Ped Mall, I'd jack him in the face. You don't jack him in the face, but you just didn't really care for the person. Really?
Yeah, he was an idiot.
You know who I didn't like? I mean, I never got to play against him, but the guy that I hated, Michigan State, Scott Skiles.
Scotty Skiles.
He was a cool guy.
But he was
Funderburg.
as you watch as a fan, as a kid.
Ohio State, right?
No, Michigan State.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was a pesky.
No, I don't like
he was
pesky little player.
Who? Which one are you talking
Skiles.
about? I'm talking about Lawrence Funderburg. He went to Ohio State, right?
Indiana, and then Ohio State.
Of course he did.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a huge Alford fan when I was a kid. Hated Alford.
The NBA, again, I keep asking questions. The NBA, because there's a lot more you can hear what's going on, do you think the trash talk has been dialed back? Or do you think it's pretty much on par?
It's on par. I think the problem with it is everybody's in the same hotel. So you got to see the guy, and I think Jamal Murray had alluded to that a couple times. He's like, here I am, giving it to the Clippers, and then I got to go down there, and they're in the same pool as me on the other side.
Yeah,
so,
the same pod, yeah.
Right. So I think that has a little bit to do with it. That there's, the personal hate factor from game to game is not there, and these guys are kind of on the same. They're in the same gang fight, so to speak. They're all in this bubble trying to make it. They're all trying to do all this social issues and social justice, and they're playing roles in the Black Lives Matter, and then they're doing the voting deal, voter registration. So like everybody's kind of on the same page. We just have to go do this job for a couple hours.
But as you look at it, and I've been thinking about this more and more, these bubble situations for these players, and I look at it as something that happened to me in my military life. Getting stationed on a ship, Jay. Mm-hmm. So when we were in the Marine Corps, had to float overseas 2 times. Well, when you're stuck, I mean, that's basically a bubble.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah.
You're not getting to see your family. I mean, it's taxing on you in a way, especially if you're tight with your family. You know what I mean? And it's it's something that you never really normally would have to deal with being a professional athlete.
I know we're going to go to break, but it reminds me of something I did want to talk to you about, AC, and I want to do it before we go to break. So these people, the players that are going to the bubble, and some of them have said, this is tough for me to do, to go from here just to stay in my hotel room and whatever, and just have only these meals or do whatever else. And especially for the extrovert. Now, the introverts, some people, they're fine with it. Jimmy Butler's fine with it, that type of thing. But this has got to be somewhat similar when you're talking to athletes that are traveling overseas. They're leaving their loved ones to a place that they don't know, when realistically, when you're at an uncomfortable place that you don't know, your first reaction is probably to go back to the hotel room or whatever apartment you are when you're traveling overseas, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you – I know you've written books about this. What do you tell – what's your advice for those athletes that are traveling overseas that, basically they form their own bubble?
Yeah, I did it for, 8 years, 12 countries. And, you have to find ways to entertain yourself without calling back home every day and not staying in the streets the whole time. So not everybody's cut out for it. It's not everybody's built for it. I believe I played this long because I could do it. There's a lot of guys who were better than me, who could not do it. And so it's not for everybody. And like what you said, we saw this with the bubble. Like, Paul George struggled with it. And
that's right, he did, yes. He did
and he's not the only one, I think. Everybody kind of struggled with it. And we saw just the other day, Russell Westbrook left an $8,000 tip for somebody. So somebody took care of him in the bubble. So,
Right.
you know, and that's basically what it is, you know, you don't leave $8,000 tip if somebody didn't really look after you and maybe bring your coffee and wash your shoes and, you know, bring you extra towels and, you know, whatever. So, I mean,
There's got to be more than this going on in the bubble, though. I mean,
they said the Amazon trucks every day were just insane. Like, I think PJ Tucker, I think he brought 50 pairs of shoes with him, and he ordered 60 more pair. Then he ordered like an 80-inch TV. So, you know, I look at it like it's kind of like AAU, but everybody's got money now.
Yeah.
So, and they said everybody is ordering wine, cool. They said it was wine coming.
That's what I'm talking
constantly.
about. Even if you talk about The Last Dance, you talk about the infamous pizza game, flu game, now we'll call it the COVID game of Jordan, that the guy who actually he worked at the place. I don't know if he delivered it, but he's like, there's no way we spit on that pizza. He's like, we knew who it was. He's like, 'cause the reason we knew is a night before, Jordan ordered $1,000 in liquor from our place to be delivered.
Oh wow!
So they knew where it was going to that night. The guy was like, we didn't spit in the pizza. We knew it was Jordan's place, and he's like, we were Jordan fans. We weren't Utah fans. So.
Wow.
But yeah, so that's what I was kind of, when you're like the wine that's coming in and everything else.
They say everybody's got these $3,000, $5,000 coolers in their room, and so you know, I'm just mad I'm not down there. I want to be a maid down there.
Disney needs to make money off of that.
Right, I'll pull my back my truck up and get all the stuff people left behind.
You could have this room,
I like wine.
or you could have this room.
Right. This is the room used by Russell Westbrook. He built his own cryo chamber in here.
All right, we do have to take our last break of the hour here on ESPN 1170 AM. You're listening to Don't Hassle So Local. In studio with us is the great AC Earl. We will be right back after this.
You like that? You like that? Give me a hell yeah. I said give me a hell yeah. Woo!
This is Bobby Metcalf from the Quad City Times, and you're listening to Don't Hassle Us, We're Local.
From lines of credit in Chicagoland to equipment finance loans in the Quad Cities to better cash flow in Milwaukee, First Midwest Bank is committed to using our local knowledge and ideas to help our clients get their business momentum back. Visit wehaveideas.firstmidwest.com. You have plans, we have ideas. First Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Being in the Army National Guard is about more than just serving your country. It's about being there for your community when your neighbors need you most. The Army National Guard makes college affordable. Serving part-time lets you attend school full-time while you take advantage of education benefits that can help you graduate debt-free. If a civilian career is your goal, serving part-time allows you to work at a full-time job. The skills, qualities, and contacts you'll develop in the Guard can open doors to a great civilian career. Want to serve but worried about being away from friends and family? Part-time service in the Army National Guard allows you to serve close to home. Serving in the Army National Guard lets you have the life you want while you enjoy the many benefits of serving your community and nation. You owe it to yourself to learn more about how the Army National Guard can fit into your life. Visit NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Iowa Army National Guard, aired by the Iowa Broadcasters Association and this station.
Limitless Male Medical is now open in Duck Creek Plaza in Bettendorf. Our physicians, PAs, and RNs have helped thousands of men get their life back. Do you suffer lack of motivation, loss of muscle mass, increased body fat, low libido, depression, and just have nothing left in the tank? Get checked for low testosterone. Feel at ease to discuss your low testosterone or ED with the men's health experts. Schedule online at limitlessmale.com. Insurance accepted.
If you talk and they will hear you every single time.
Oh, we're getting killed.
Yeah, well, Kyle's not here.
How come?
Kicked off the team. Didn't Tim tell you? Kyle and some other kids got caught drinking beer in the park a couple of nights ago.
Really?
Yeah. Zero tolerance. He's out for the season.
Come on, it's a first offense, right?
That we know of. But why should that matter? He knew not to drink. I made it clear to Matt that's what we expect from him. What have you said to Tim?
Nothing really. You know, a lot of kids try it at this age, so...
Yeah, well, a lot of kids don't try it too. I'm not saying that Matt's going to be this perfect kid, but if I don't tell him what we expect and why he shouldn't drink, how's he going to know?
You think kids that age really listen?
They never admit it, Bill, but they hear more than you think.
Talk. They hear you. For more information about talking with kids about underage drinking, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
We take you back to 1954.
I'm looking for a revolutionary sound.
Plug, 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 plug. Your toilet's plugged, plugged, plugged.
That's not it.
Well, since my baby left me, my party's been all plugged up.
Next.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name.
And away go troubles down the drain.
Roto-Rooter.
That's it.
Roto-Rooter has been locally owned for over 60 years and is the trusted expert. Call the original Roto-Rooter for free estimates and fast 24-hour service.
Roto-Rooter.
When you own a business, every precious second of your life is spent focusing on how to make it successful and profitable. You spend so much time worrying about making things right, the last thing you need to worry about is when things go wrong. That's where we come in. Jorgensen Insurance, our worldwide resources allow us to give your business the most comprehensive and cost-effective commercial insurance plan anywhere. Online at jorgenseninsurance.com. Now, get back to work.
On your radio, on your phone, on Alexa. This is the Quad Cities sports leader, ESPN 1170 AM.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Getting some very good stories off the air, boy. If anybody can read lips on Facebook Live, AC's got some good ones, man. Talking about Marcus Liberty and people he's played against and stuff, man. Just good times, man.
And I think that's what the most important thing is I don't know exactly where your prediction of where you want the format for your show to go, your podcast, but it's something we're going to work on. I'm going to help you with producing it and everything else. And the stories that you have, the people that you know is just incredible. And there's just no reason at all why we're not sharing this information with people in the Quad Cities and out there on the internet that listen to podcasts wherever they download their podcasts from. And that's the fun thing. I mean, we just did 4 minutes of just listening to you tell stories and the names that you have. And obviously, even the story like with Patrick Ewing, that going back and forth, and you're such a student of the game, too.
Reminding Pat of what he's done. I think that's the thing, AC. You didn't, I think you go back to another story you told, but you're talking about impressing the chief, Robert Parrish.
Yeah.
With your knowledge. You know, that's something that you can't teach it. You just have it. So it's great.
Yeah. Fun times indeed.
So what we need to do is, obviously we'll talk a little bit off the air, but we're going to get this thing together. We've now kind of solidified. I think we know ahead of time what we wanted to do. When we had it scheduled before was in August when we were going to start this, and then the little virus outbreak around here happened and more, so it kind of put us back a little bit.
They call that a spike, Jay.
Yeah, spike. And so now
you got to pay attention to all.
Now we're going to find time to make sure that we're doing this and we stay consistent. We get a show.
Pod strike.
Yeah, and tell some stories and book guests and whatnot. So, but it'll be AC Earl's podcast, and we'll come up with names and everything else going forward. But it's again, it's so cool to have like you in here, a Quad City legend, and someone who has traveled all over the world. You played in the NBA, also you played for the Iowa Hawkeyes, played for Moline. So, like, it's important that we also, when there's people listening, and that they can go back on Facebook Live or YouTube to listen to stories, because young student athletes should hear the stuff that you've been through.
It's funny. I was in the casino the other day, and there was a young guy there. We were watching games, and his uncle was a brother of a guy I played with around here, Lee Orr, who I played AAU ball with. He played at Davenport Central. And so his nephew was asking me, who's the best player in the Quad Cities?
Well, you said yourself, right?
I said, it depends on your era, but I said, greatest of all time has got to be Don Nelson.
Okay.
And the guy goes, oh, I kind of heard of that guy. You know, the guy's about 20, probably 25, 26, 27, 28.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, Don Nelson. I go, he had every record, played for the Celtics. And I said, probably your era, modern era, our era. I said, it's got to be Ricky Davis. And he goes, I said, no. I said, Ricky Davis, 10-year NBA career. I said, that's pretty. I said, that's pretty strong. So I said, between the three players, I said best Quad City ever player would be Don Nelson, me, Ricky would be, and you can rank us any of those three.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy started yelling off all these other names. And I said, there's no disrespect to Pete Michael. There's no disrespect to Chase and Randall and some of these other guys, but they haven't had a career. They didn't have the career. And I said, that's the longevity. And, and that's what you got to look at is what they've done in their career.
But you had, 6 NBA years?
I had 4. So I had 4 NBA years, 8 years overseas. I think Don Nelson may have had 8 years, maybe 2 titles or 1 title. With
that
the
dude's
Celtics.
just smoking dope now, right?
Who, Don Nelson? Yeah, he's out there. He's pretty out there.
Living in Hawaii, just growing and having the time of his
is.
life.
Well, I know I've told.
He had a great coaching career too.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, no, of course.
Now, a little story
He
that I
did
had.
small ball. Yeah.
I had met AC with Roy Marble one time up in Dubuque. You guys were up on a camp thing.
Mm-hmm.
You were, I want to say, with the Celtics. This would have been 94.
Yeah.
Positive 94. Maybe 95.
Mm-hmm.
But so the other day when we were straightening things up in the basement, and I get to go through some of my old time things, I found my piece of paper with AC and Roy's autograph on it.
Oh, that's cool.
I found it, AC. I have it.
There you go.
That's neat.
Yeah.
That was up in Dubuque?
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Good times.
So I did find that.
Yeah.
Very proud of myself that I kept it all those years.
Yeah. So it's just funny that, the young guys don't know the history of even where they're from. Even, being a Quad City player, that some guys still don't know who the best players are.
Well, and that's what I think, that's part of what this show is about, to highlight the athletics in Eastern Iowa, Western Illinois, also the past, the history that has grown to where it is now. I mean, when you say, that's the other thing, when you say AAU, and we've talked about this, but we've got new listeners, when you say AAU, it's not an AAU league. Back then, when you were playing, was probably one AAU team, and either you got cut or you didn't, and you guys had to travel a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when I first played AAU, I had to come. Illinois didn't have it, so I played on the Iowa side. So that's where I played with some of the other Quad City legends: Bruce Bibbs, Kelly Gant, John Barnes, Lee Orr, Tony Couch. Tons of Quad City names that people would know. Jerry Seasley. I can't remember. I went into Assumption, but then it was just one team in Iowa, and you played a bunch of other teams, and then the winner of that went to the Nationals, and that's what we did. Our average margin of victory was 50 points a game.
Jeez.
And so if you tried out for that team, you made it. If not, there was no other team down the block.
Yeah.
So today, I think everybody says travel team, but it's really, everybody says AAU, but it's really travel team. So a lot of these kids play travel team. Like I get calls and emails and texts from parents that say, "Oh, my kid plays AAU for this team. Can we train with you?" And I said, "Well, that's really not AAU. That's travel team." And they said, "No, we're AAU." I said, "Okay, what national tournament did you play at?" "Well, we haven't gone to any national team." "Well, yeah, that's right, because that's what AAU teams do. Travel teams just travel around. Go to Chicago, go to Minneapolis, go to Oklahoma, go to
TBK.
Omaha, go to TBK, go to play at the baseline every other weekend, and that's AAU. And
that's what I'm saying. There's no leagues. I mean, I even think the Benner Middle School has an AAU league on Sunday before the
so it's totally
right before before the old timers pickup league starts.
Right.
So
hey.
I have nothing against what
I like to play in that
old timers or anything like that.
I dominate that old timer league.
You dominated that? Yeah. So, no, like I said, I'm excited to get to work with you, and we're going to put some things together. We'll work on all our social media, and we'll get a show going as soon as we can, because everything now is all pointed in that direction.
Yes, sir.
Of all good signs, and no, there should not be any hiccups at all whatsoever. But how can people follow you on social media?
I am AC Earl on Facebook. I also have the Quad Cities Nike Camp page, and we have the Venom Sports page on Facebook. And then on Twitter, I am Coach AC Earl, and I am Phenom Iowa, and Instagram Phenom Iowa.
T-Roy, tomorrow we've got our pick sixes, right?
Yeah,
to
pick six. Yep. And we're going to what else are we going to do?
Now we're going to have American Studio Bomber. We'll finally be back.
Leah Bomber back. Yeah.
So we've got a lot to look at as well.
It's a
We've got to
fun Friday.
recap the Bears-Bucks from tonight's game.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you about how
What's
your
the
Bears.
line on that?
It's now 3.5. Bucks minus 3.5. Opened up at 6. It's been knocked all the way down to 3.5.
I'm all over the Bucks on that.
Yeah, I would take that.
Are the Lakers going to close out Game 5?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bet
They're wearing Mamba jerseys, too.
They are. I saw that.
Yes, I did see that on Twitter.
So.
All right. Enjoy yourselves, Quad Cities. Stay safe and sanitized. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.